come on, man. Just like text me and I'll tell you how to do things better.
But I love cookies.
Welcome back, everyone, to S1E1, a show where each week we pick a different sitcom, watch just the first televised episode, and forgetting anything we might know about the future run of that show, rate it and decide if it's a show we want to greenlight or cancel. This week we're going to be talking about The Paper. So far, The Paper's had 10 episodes in its first season on Peacock, and has already been renewed for a second season. Today we're talking about episode 1, which is called Pilot, originally airing September 4th, 2025. So to get things started, I'm Jay Gags. With me, as always, the boys, most of the boys, Joe, Ferg, and Nick Nogordo this week.
Heyo.
Hey.
I usually make a quote, but I just want to actually not do my usual thing right now because luckily we're on an episode right now where the one person who's not obsessed with The Office is on the episode. Guys, Bob Vance got so old. What happened to Bob
know,
Vance?
yeah. He did get
It
super
breaks
old.
my
Yeah.
heart seeing him.
Bob Vance was, we'll talk about him.
He was old on
season
there.
episode very, but yeah, he wasn't
On
the
The
youngest
Office.
guy on The Office.
Yeah,
to
he was an
begin with,
older
but-
guy on The Office 20 years ago or whatever, but when he first pops in, you're like, ugh. I think because we all rewatch The Office a lot, though, they're frozen in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, right. You don't think about them aging.
Like he's like, I'm not gonna do my usual stick, but man, Bob Vance is old. Fuck that guy.
He's also not that old. He's only 67.
Yeah, that's not that old at all. It's just old. He looks considerably older than he did.
You know, I think he lost a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
That may be part of it, yeah.
Well, with all that in mind, yeah, we're doing The Paper this week, which is the official Office spinoff. We almost had an Office spinoff many years ago, with that turned into Parks and Rec, and then we almost had an Office spinoff with The Farm or whatever, which was going to be the Dwight one, which never turned into anything. So now we actually have an official Greg Daniels created Office spinoff with The Paper all these years later.
I'd rather cover The Farm. I'm not talking shit about this show. I just wanted to say I like The Farm episode. I know it's hated.
I love the farm episode, yeah.
I love the farm episode. I wanted that to be, when I knew that, like, because they announced it was going to be a backdoor pilot before it aired. So, like, it was common knowledge. So, like, watching that was, like, exciting. You're like, oh, this is where The Office is going, because you knew you were in the last season and you thought, like, these characters would go on. I will say this, though. Watching this for notes today was the 4th time I have seen this pilot.
I guess we know what Joe.
Only the second for me. So I watched it. I haven't even watched all of season 1 yet. I'm like a few episodes in. I've been meaning to finish it up, but
It's interesting because I really like it. I know Joe likes it, but like I have also heard people really like not like it. So this one seems to be middle of the road.
we'll get into it. And I think inherently because The Office is the show that it is and holds so heavy in people's hearts, and this is the first spin-off we're getting from it, nearly it was like 12 years after the show ended or something like that.
Yeah, I guess Office Australia is not a spinoff. It's just a flat-out remake, right?
When it's just The Office, another country,
Yeah.
none of them, to my knowledge, connect to another one.
I don't even think I didn't see the Australia one, but I don't think it's like a paper company or anything.
I will say this, too. People who want to watch it, if you're smarter than I am, you can find it with a VPN, but it's the only territory, if you're officially looking for it, it's not streaming in the entire world, is the US. I have no idea why. It's an Amazon original. I mean, it's obviously because of like rights fees or whatever, or rights situations. But it seems weird to me that like that wouldn't be streaming here too, right? Like Ghost UK streams here and Ghost US streams here. Like it's, I don't understand why you wouldn't put both on.
Why didn't you just buy it? You buy everything else.
You can't buy it. I tried to.
As we found out, there's also now a Ghost Australia, which ties in. So hold off
And
another
Ghost Germany.
Yeah, we'll see you in about 11 months or so for that one. As far as what Nick said, kind of mixed review. We got Rotten Tomatoes 85% for critics, 70% audience, and then an exact kind of replica number 7.0 IMDb score. So it's fairly well received, but it's not like an overwhelmingly like this is a top show. But early on, and as we've seen with a lot of shows. Yeah, a lot of shows kind of find their footing after a while, and I haven't even watched the whole season. I can't really judge the season myself yet.
I will say this. I mean, I'll touch on it at the end, but I will say they take a lot of the elements of The Office that took a lot of seasons to get through, and they do push them to the season finale of season 1, which I think is more a modern. The TV is just different now than it was when The Office is on, right? These aren't 20 episode story arcs
Well,
anymore.
Joe,
You gotta
that
kinda push
doesn't
things
exist
faster.
yet in your head.
Well, yeah, but this is to what Joe's saying as well. You're also getting it's the whole season at once out. We're not learning as we move along type situation, which I kind of think has been a problem with television in general in the modern era with streaming. And again, this has nothing to do with the paper, but just television in general.
Kind of shocking that they put them all out at once. They don't do that with anything anymore, and this is a big show that they could have got people to tune in every week for.
Well, that's why I right before we recorded, I just wanted to double check my notes, and I'd asked all of them, hey, just before we go for the intro, is this show on Peacock or NBC? And the thing is, you would think NBC would want this show. This could be a driving thing for NBC because obviously it would be on Peacock anyways. But yeah, I'm surprised they're not using this to put on their actual station.
Kind of like makes you feel like they didn't have a lot of faith in it. But you'd think anything Office would do well.
I think the same way, yeah. Because if you look at Poker Face, which they just did the second season of, that was a Peacock original as well, and is not airing on NBC. That was week to week, right? And that was a show that was huge in the first season, and they didn't even bring it to TV, and they still were weekly only.
Oh, wow. This is interesting. Did you guys see the Bay Area thing?
No.
The paper was not on the main NBC network because it was released exclusively on the streaming service Peacock. However, a version of the show is being broadcast on NBC Bay Area, a local NBC affiliate, starting on November 10th, 4 days from when we're recording right now. What does that mean? A version of the show? Yeah,
and you can already watch the whole thing.
Well, if it's on TV, it's got to be cut down, and they're going to take out the one fuck.
Yeah, also, this is a 32-minute pilot, so that means we're going to cut down 22 minutes of the first episode to play it on TV.
Which is the real reason Gordo's not here. We were not allowed him. We already had a long show. We couldn't deal with his bullshit this week with him pretending that he hates The Office just because he hasn't watched it.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Where's Dwight?
And real quick before we go forward to it, I just want to remind you guys, S1E1pod.com is our website. So if you need anything from us, it's all located there. Hit us up, buy a shirt, anything. But yeah, S1E1pod.com. So because it is a longer show, I think we should jump right in because there's going to be a lot to talk about. And I think there is going to be a recurring theme with unfortunately, we can't help but compare things to The Office at times. And I think that's to Nick, what you were saying with some of people's reviews. I think people can't help but let go of The Office when you watch this show because it's a spinoff of it.
It doesn't have to be this show. We do that with every show.
We do that with every show anyways. But yeah, I think we're going to see a bit of that as we go on. So instead of one big tangent about it, I think we're not going to help but bring it up throughout the episode anyways. So in no better place than the exact start of the show, because it is addressed right away. It starts, we see a black screen with text and it's reading. In 2005, a documentary crew started filming at a paper company in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And then it kind of fades and we see this aerial shot of the sky. And we're getting more text and it says, they followed the workers in an average office dealing with new rules of workplace behavior and the ups and downs of their personal lives. 20 years later, they returned, camera pans down, and we see the sign for the Scranton Business Park. And I'll say right off the bat, Dunder Mifflin's not listed, but I'm not thinking about it. I saw Advanced Refrigeration. It's a quick shot. I'm not overthinking of it. It's covered half in grass, so I'm like, oh, maybe it's below it. So I'm not thinking anything just yet. We get to the iconic building. At this point, did you guys pick up on the fact that Dunder Mifflin wasn't on that sign?
No,
I was too distracted by the 20 years later, which made me feel super fucking old.
That wasn't ideal either, yeah.
It's funny. First tangent, I was at a concert last night with a buddy of ours, Russ, who's been on a couple episodes of the show. And we're talking about how all these bands that we go on all these tours lately of the 20th anniversary of this album, and they'll play the whole album. And I'm like, man, if someone came out with an album right now that was that gets big and they do a 20th anniversary tour of it, we're going to be 60 years old when that tour comes out. That's so disgusting.
It's weird too. Today, it's funny if it's older, it doesn't bother you because it was before you. The Kiss 50th anniversary Kiss Alive box set came out today, right? And that feels like a billion years ago, right? Because 50 years ago is before us. Right, but when it was Green Day's 25th anniversary of Dookie, I was like, whoa! My brain couldn't fucking handle that being a number,
See, I'm okay with that because we were in elementary school when that came out.
Right, but we bought it. You know, like it was records we all bought.
What I mean is that feels old to me. Like,
I mean, yeah, sure, we were kids. I guess it's true, yeah. But
seeing The Office 20 years later really fucked with me. It's something I still currently watch, and I'm like, oh no.
From there, we're getting they cut to the building, you know, so it's the building that we're used to seeing a million times over. And it basically looks the same, you know what I mean? Like not much, you know, it's the office building. And then you cut inside and the camera's approaching Bob Vance. You mentioned Bob Vance in the beginning, and yeah, he's a bit older now. And he starts off right with that, you know, Bob Vance Refrigeration, what can I do you for? And then we get to like a talking head interview with him. And he goes, oh, Dunder Mifflin? Oh yeah, they've been gone for a while. And like just from that moment, I'm like, what? And he's talking about how, you know, Phyllis and Stanley still talk. And he says, oh, you know, those one and done guys that are there now, like, you know, less drama, that's for sure. And then we cut to one and done laser removal, which is what took over Dunder Mifflin in that building. And you can just like, you see just from inside the doorway, like you can tell it's the same. Well, they replicated the same set, so the building structure looks the same, like as if, you know, a new business went into that same spot. When that happened, like, no, my fucking heart broke. It really did. It was like, The Office ended, right? And we know
because
that like
it didn't end in your mind. It was still existing.
It still goes on, yeah. And like, even if only one or two of them still work there all these years later, everyone's retired, you want to believe that Dunder Mifflin exists.
do we think Dwight still owns the building, though?
Yeah, I mean, he could, but he also like, I mean, in real life, well, not real life, in the show life, you know, he didn't need to. He does well with the farm and everything, so he could have eventually sold it.
He technically has two farms. He has this beet farm, and then he has the one from the pilot, from the backdoor pilot.
This is a weird thing I thought of that's like a stupid Office Super Nerd thing, but I was like, so Crest from Crest Tool and Die is dead because he was super old when they had to get the four families together. And the Disaster Kits Limited guy probably went out of business because people aren't buying OC chopper bikes anymore. So, like, even the tenants who were in the building from the office are probably, aside from Vance Refrigeration, all gone.
I was thinking about that when they showed the sign, because, like, the sign didn't... It would have almost been funnier if it was everyone was the same but Dunder Mifflin, but...
Like, time stood still for everyone else but, yeah, the paper company.
But, yeah, to see the office that we knew, like, look different inside and to know the thing... It got to me. Like, you just wanted to believe it was still moving on somehow, you know, like it would have warmed my heart, even if you got like a glimpse into Dunder Mifflin real quick. But be like, oh yeah, no one works there anymore.
What was really weird too was the like modern lighting in that room. So you're seeing that space, but there's like the purple lights and like the non-traditional neon, like burn your eyeballs out.
And then they just show a quick interview of the receptionist there, Emma. And it's just like a really quick talking head, how she's talking about how she moved there from Alaska because her sister went missing. And then don't worry, they found her. She was living under her own damn house. Like, okay, weird.
It's a very strange aside.
Then I immediately said, like, give me this show.
I thought this was a missed opportunity to have any random, because Greg Daniels was always good about like little winks and nods. If they had like any little random person from the office who maybe existed in the background, like you should have had someone be the receptionist, you know what I mean? Like, and have people figure that out later than an export from another state. I thought that would have been the way to go there.
Like Toby's still there as HR.
I was going to say, you could have had like, you could have even had like, yeah, like Plop could have been like still working. I would just have
someone who was like working behind the counter of another show, like a random, like a one scene person, you know what I mean? Like, I think that would have been the way to go.
No, would have been good. One of the kid they try to recruit for the job fair.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like that would have been a fun. Like now that kid's the.
I want like a random like. Remember when they were driving by looking for the like Pam? Oh, my name's Pam.
Oh yeah,
like someone like that.
It's the lady where Toby says "smile for men's prostates" or everybody has the mustache.
Yeah, I love one. Oh my god, it's like. Oh, you know who could have been too? The guy who was two characters on the show. He was the IT guy, Nick, and then he was also the guy at the job fair that Pam was trying to get into art school with. If he had somehow made a third appearance, that would have been funny.
That would have been really funny too.
It's just a shitty boom mic guy.
No.
What's her
Fuck
face
Brian.
from the league, who was like the one that
Oh,
Michael
Jenny
like
from the
fell in love
league,
with
yeah.
at the blood drive.
Yeah, the blood drive. See, we're just gonna talk about The Office the entire time.
Gordo is so lucky he's not actually on this episode. Yeah.
He'd just be like, "Oh, it's Stanley eating beans," like, because that's all he ever says.
So then we cut back to Bob Vance, and he goes, you see him on his laptop. He's saying, hey, the Chamber of Commerce, they have a list of every business that's closed within the last 10 years. And he looks up Dunder Mifflin, and he goes, oh, here he goes. It was purchased by Enervate out of Toledo, Ohio in 2019. He goes, oh, and that's right. I remember them asking Phyllis if she was interested in moving to Toledo. Like, leave Scranton for Toledo. Make me laugh.
I feel like Dwight would.
Well, he has
No.
the farm, and he's married to Angela. I think like his life. I think if it was early mid-season, maybe, but I think when you look at the way the show wrapped, I think they kind of gave everyone their finality. As far as this whole thing goes, I think this was a good way to bring up The Office, kind of explain what happened in a quick way, find a way to transition us to like, why are they now in Toledo dealing with this company? I thought this works for what we needed. As much as it hurt to see The Office closed, but I think this was a good way to like address it, and this is how we end up here.
I do like Bob Vance as the person to do it too, though, because he gets to be a link back. He mentions Phyllis. He mentions Stanley.
It makes sense that he's in the building when they go back there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it makes sense.
It gives you some familiarity with the building still, yeah.
It gives you like a little taste of The Office without leaning on it too hard to be like,
Right.
to use The Office just to get the views, you know?
And we'll talk about it later, but the person they do use to be the one cast member for The Office, I think is the perfect person to have there. I think it makes the most sense of anybody.
His post-credit scene, I won't say anything else, but that's enough.
Yeah.
Like,
We'll get there, and I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot because it's fucking amazing.
So now we cut to the exterior shot of the building where Enervate operates out of Toledo. And then we go inside the office complex and we see it's kind of like it's a bigger office with like these glass cubicle things. And one guy's shaving with an electric razor.
I swear that is David Koechner. It's not credited anywhere. And I was pausing it. I thought it the first time I watched it. And last night I paused again to look. And I was like, did they give an uncredited Todd Packer reference where he's just in there shaving? But I can't find a fucking reference to it anywhere.
I didn't think it was him. I didn't think about it. I have to rewatch.
I definitely thought so too.
All right, I'm glad you did too, Nick, because I was like, am I going crazy? Because I thought it twice now. And I paused it. And I tried to look at it. I'm like, it looks like it could be Packer. And it's like the funniest. What would Todd Packer be doing? Like shaving at his desk,
Yeah.
right? Like the most thing you don't do.
But yeah, he's shaving. You got another guy looking like next to him. That's Ken. And then Ken is the person that we see next. And he's telling us that Enervate sells products made out of paper. So that could be office supplies, or it could be janitorial paper, which is toilet paper, and or it could be the local newspaper. So it kind of makes, so this company in a weird way just does paper in general. So they bought Dunder Mifflin because they sell paper, but they also deal with toilet paper or newspapers. As long as it's on paper, it fits under their umbrella.
I thought this is a great way to write this in because you get all these fun different paper references too. Like where later on is like, I work in paper, and he's like toilet or news. Like that's just a funny fucking line to say, right? Like the company does everything, so you don't know what division you're in. It's kind of like the perfect. And now, right, if you're going to be a paper company, you'd have to be so spread out like that, right? Because you can't just be selling to newspapers anymore.
Right.
And then he's taking us on a tour of the building now. We get to the 8th floor, and that's where the corporate offices are, including strategy. That's where he works. And he's like, oh, what a treat. Here's our commander-in-chief, Marv Putnam. Guy walks by. He's like, not now, Ken. He's like, oh, not now, Ken. You heard the man. So that Marv is the big dog there, but he was a little too busy for this one. And he takes us further to the office of Softies. Softies is like their toilet paper, which I guess out of everything that they own is their breadwinner, right? So
makes sense.
Everybody needs toilet paper. If you're going to sell a paper product, that's when everyone needs it, right? You get the good one with the flavor ripples.
Flavor?
Yeah, you know the ones that have the
said
flavor
that
pockets of them.
Fucking gross.
So Gordo's not here, and you have to be the weird, gross one.
Old poop humor Joe. You know how it is. Oh, you know what? Okay, I got to bring this up because I've been mad at myself for not bringing it up. We're off topic here. Get over it. Mr. No Fart Joe, I had a core memory come up recently. We were probably like, I don't know, 10 or 11 at Joe's house, and he would torture his younger sister. And one of the ways he would do it was when she went to the bathroom, he would walk up and fart on the door while she was in there. And she would come out screaming mad. And I was like, Joe has been team fart since we were like 11 years old.
I literally do not remember that memory from 30 years ago, but I'll take your word for it. I find it strange that you remember
I was
it.
going to say, it's not a core memory of mine. I will also say, in defense of Joe blindly, everyone who's 11 is team fart. It's
Yeah, I
when
knew
you get
that
to
was
being
the route
40.
you were going to go here.
Yeah.
But hey, man, still funny. Ask your sister.
It's not just anyone 11, all right? It's everybody except you guys.
Yeah.
The world thinks farts are funny.
I don't know about the world. Anyways, so we walk into the softy's office or whatever, and he's like, hello to all my toilet kings, and of course, my toilet queen on her toilet throne.
There being one woman and him having to single her out as the toilet queen is so much funnier than calling everybody else toilet kings. I don't know why that's so good singularly, but it really is funny.
He shows us, like, they have, like, it's weird, because, like, a lot of office buildings for, like, big brand names might have, like, you know, tributes to their past and old logos and stuff, but theirs just looks like it's a giant pole where they like I don't know if they, I'll say for people who are really good with details and stuff and the set design, I thought this was like a lazy way to show like the history of the logos, where it was just like a poster that was taped to a big pole with the other logo on top of it, but we see a poster of like what was many people's first crushes, and it was just like a busty cartoon woman holding toilet paper.
Like the female version of the Brawny Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of got that Ken put those up there because Ken,
Yeah.
like, that's what makes sense to me. Like, he printed these out and he put them on the support beam, and it was like a thing he did, and it wasn't like what they would have put up as a company. That's kind of how I felt about it.
I didn't think about that, but that makes sense. Yeah.
You got to keep in mind it's modern day, and that logo would definitely be canceled. So this is someone who's hanging on to the past, putting those things up still.
Yeah.
No, I'm not letting go.
And then after that, he shows us this gong that they have in the office where every time someone makes a sale, they're supposed to hit the gong. Was this gong broken? Because it made a terrible noise when you hit it.
I think it's just a cheaply made gong.
It was made in China.
Wagga wagga.
Also, make a sale of toilet paper. It made sense in the office that like they sold to like offices and stuff.
Yeah,
And
but offices need toilet paper too.
Yeah, I think this is like corporate sales. This is like you're selling 1,000 units to a supermarket, not like one to a person, you know?
You're just calling people, hey, do you need toilet paper?
I mean, to be fair, most people would be like, yeah, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense. Why wouldn't I?
This is where we see a cameo from Dwight selling his half-ply toilet paper.
When he tells them to reply it in the loom.
Machine breaks.
what kind of toilet paper do you guys use?
I believe I use Charmin Ultra.
Me too.
I think the
It's
same.
good toilet
yeah.
paper.
It's great toilet paper.
It's fucking expensive though.
Yes, and if you are trying to save a couple bucks at least and still want a good quality toilet paper, Angel Soft is right up there. I think Angel Soft also makes a solid product.
Yeah, I've bought that a couple times. Yeah.
We had an Airbnb for a vacation like a month or two ago. We went away to a house and like had it for a week, and we like got there and it was like the type of toilet paper you get in like an office building or a gas station or whatever. And like the first thing we did went to the grocery store to like buy food and stuff, and I like immediately just bought a thing of nice toilet paper and was like, we'll leave the rest of this for whoever needs it, but like no one should have to be like, I'm on vacation and use the worst toilet paper in the world.
Yeah, you only use the one that's made out of hemp, right?
Oh god, the Woody Harrelson brand. Yeah. But you can smoke it after.
So after that, he's going, oh, and here's
It took you a second.
he's like, here we are with our Toledo Truth Teller, the local newspaper, and we just pan over and we see like 4 people at like a desk cluster. And he says, you know, this whole building used to be the Truth Teller. Can you believe they used to employ over 1,000 people? Like, that's really insane if you think about it. Then we cut to like this old, it looks like an old documentary. So it cuts to the same angle and the same floor of the building, and we're seeing the same place in 1971 in like black and white. It looks like archival footage.
This breaks my heart.
And you see everything going on. It's like the old world. And now we see John Stack, the publisher of the paper at the time, and he's telling everyone that the 9th floor is 100 men covering Ohio politics, and we have 300 more outside of the building in Washington, New York, and all these things going on.
And could afford it on a 25 cent a day paper, right? Like, they're making that much money on ad revenue and sales. It's wild to think how far that's fallen off. It breaks my heart a little bit.
We just had our local elections here. A lot of people did, and I went and bought the Boston Globe because there was a article on the front page about
our election, yeah.
And so I put it down. I said, how much is this anyways? And the girl was like, oh, it's $4. I was like, imagine. And she's like, no, it's $4. I was like, the regular middle of the week Boston Globe is $4? She's like, yeah. I remember when I worked at the gas station, the Sunday Globe was $3.50. And it was like, that was like the paper to buy. Like, yeah. The regular, like, who the fuck's buying $4?
But that's not just that newspaper. That's what newspapers have to do now. Every newspaper.
I know.
Is that. Yeah.
Sure, but like, who's buying that?
You really think about it. You worked at the gas station a long time ago. If it was $3.50, it'd only be in $4. It's not that big of a jump.
The Sunday paper.
The regular paper was 50 cents. So the Sunday paper must be fucking $12. Who's buying that? That's crazy.
The funny thing is, even though we're like a much more cashless society, it's funnier to me to think now that if you wanted to get the paper out of the vending machine on the side of the street, you'd have to have $4 in quarters. Like, your pants are falling down with change.
Yeah, my brain forgot those existed. Are those anywhere anymore?
I was gonna say, do they?
I think they only have like the free ones. A single copy of the Sunday Globe is $6. That's insane.
Yeah,
$6 for a newspaper.
But something you can just Google.
Well, those are all behind paywalls now. So usually you can look at like one article a week until it locks you.
The price for a digital only subscription is available for an introductory offer for $1 for the first 26 weeks. So they're just like, I feel like they're pricing themselves out.
I think they just know that they make more money off of the internet. Yeah.
But this is I think kind of funny because it's a nice parallel when you look at the original Office versus this one, obviously still dealing with paper. So, I mean, both shows are dealing with the same issues of the world digitizing, right? So before, even with paper products, like more things are on the computer and stuff. And now, even with the newspaper, it's a similar situation. So there's a nice parallel there where you're going to have an old medium kind of up against the modern world. They can deal with kind of some similar issues going into this show. And yeah, watching this old footage of like the newspaper back in the day. And I mean, we grew up, that's 71, but even we were like kids in the 90s. And like in the 90s, it was uncommon for you to not have a newspaper at your house every day.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the Daily Metro even later in Boston, right? Which is like, it was a free paper. It was small, but like I would grab it every morning when I got on the train.
Yeah.
And read it, because before like cell phones
and
were
that rivaled
phones,
the two major newspapers we had out of Boston that were both very successful in their own right.
I read our local paper every week. It only comes out once a week, but
is Paperboy still a job?
Paperboy is still a job. Yes, it's not some kid on a bike. It's usually a van. But
I heard that job was too dangerous. The Grim Reaper came after you, and the
ladies with fucking rolling pins.
Can we get that on the? Oh, that's got to be on the Switch, right?
I think it is actually. Yeah.
It is.
Okay, I'm gonna do that. But not to, at risk of you guys calling me quirky. Talk about the newspaper boxes. You can buy them. Like, there's a company who just takes old ones and rehabs them, and they'll either paint them like whatever your local paper is, or paint them like a color. And I have one. It's like my record player shelf in here, and like both the doors and stuff still open, or like they made them so like they're basically brand new. And you can get them really cheap, and they ship super cheap too because they're sheet metal, so they weigh nothing, even though they're really big. So if you do want a newspaper box in your house, you can actually get one for really cheap. And if you wanted one to be like the old Boston Globe with the green and the yellow lettering, they'll do that. They're really cool.
Yeah.
Took the fun out of me calling you quirky for having that.
Suck it.
After all that old footage, we get back to kind of modern day, and then we meet Mayor and she's at her desk. And it's like, we do a lot of the narration over them with their own voice, and then it cuts into the talking head type of deal. So we're getting that, and we meet her at her little kind of, not a cubicle, she's like the desk cluster situation. She's a compositor, and she's showing us how like this thing works. And basically they have a subscription to like the directory of the AP, the Associated Press stuff. And then basically, depending on your subscription tier, you are eligible for certain articles, and then you can basically drag and drop them into the newspaper format based on the size of the article if it fits. And I was like so fascinated with this. I was like, is this how this actually works with modern newspapers now?
It happened to me literally last week. I was trying to read, there was an article on like the News Center Maine, whatever website, about like the places who are trying to abolish daylight savings.
Which should be the world.
I totally agree. That's why I was reading it, because it's fucking stupid and we're done with it.
It is fucking stupid.
But this article was based on like, if every state, and they sort of led with like, in New England, if every state who touches each other agrees to do it, they're going to do it. That's always been like the sort of thing where like New Hampshire says they'll do it if Maine and Massachusetts will do it, right? Because they don't want to have like different time zones. And I kept getting an ad that was crashing my fucking browser over and over again. So I Googled it, and the same fucking story popped up in like 40 places. I ended up reading it from like the Denver Chronicle or something, but it was just that one Associated Press article was spread across like a million small internet local papers. So it was funny because I had watched this previously and was like, oh shit, that really is just what they do to like fill out and pad out their days on these websites.
There was a joke there where she was going to try to show us how something fit with a article for Elizabeth Olsen's nighttime skin routine, and then it turned out that the article was actually too big for the box provided. It's like, oh, that's weird. I thought it was going to be too small, but it was a long story. But yeah, no, that whole concept of, oh, so they just it's all slop now from like someone writes a story and like puts it like, here, this is for the whole world if you want it, and then it goes into every single newspaper. I thought it was interesting. I was like, so that this is kind of I didn't think about how the stuff works anymore.
It made me a little sad though, because I would have much rather read, like when I read that article, I would have much rather read one that was like specific to this region about like things that may have affected us if our part of the country wanted to do it, right? So
right.
I kind of wish like a journalist got to actually write that article instead of somebody being like.
But that's the problem. I mean, yeah, so that's why they write these kind of all-encompassing generic articles that anyone could find interesting throughout the country, so it could be used anywhere. But yeah, from there we get into the theme, and it starts like, it's office adjacent. Like they definitely want to have, this was clearly made where they wanted you to feel it be familiar but still have its own identity. So we're hearing like a little piano riff, and they're showing all these shots of newspapers basically being used for everything but reading. So you're seeing newspaper being used to wrap plates, or newspapers being used as like to line a table before.
I thought it was genius.
It's just like how newspapers are used but we never see anyone actually reading one. And like in The Office, like the music picks up a little bit, and we see some shots of Toledo and some shots of the show. Yeah, I thought this was good.
I didn't like it. I thought this intro was trying too hard to be like the original Office intro. But the thing about the Office one is that it can grow on you. It can be catchy. I don't see this one becoming catchy. I could be wrong. Time will tell when I keep watching. But like, I was not a fan. I think it wasn't unique enough to the show.
Yeah, again, I liked it personally. I thought it was in the family without being a direct ripoff. We get back to Mayor after the intro. We find out like, oh, when we need accurate local reporting for like something like a high school sport or whatever, we have Barry, and he's our one intrepid reporter. And then we see Barry off in the distance. He's like an older black guy who's just dead asleep at his desk.
He's what I imagine Stanley would be doing if Stanley was still there, right? Like he's like the right age, he's asleep, and he's looking at he's doing like the word puzzle stuff.
And see, now this is one of my issues. You have that theme that's like The Office, and then you have a Stanley-like character immediately after. And then there's just a bunch of stuff that is just like, I'm watching a new show, but would I rather be watching The Office?
That's fair.
I said this earlier, we're obviously going to draw comparisons. If we didn't know that this was an Office spin-off, do we make those comparisons as often? Which I think is I don't know if...
No.
it's unfair to the show in a way because you can't help it. The intro, obviously, I think a direct pull. Barry to Stanley, I mean, sure. But like just the same, like Mare is more their Jim, right? From where we're meeting her, but like they're not similar really. So it's not going to be like a direct. It's not everything's a pull one for one. But yeah, I think we're going to unfairly always look at anything that reminds us of The Office and pull from their counterpart.
I could do it the whole episode.
Yeah.
I don't mean it in a bad way. I'm saying
No, I get it. And it's because though it's like this is the Greg Daniels new show. That's a direct spinoff. But like, could we do this with other shows? Is it fair to do it to this show? It sucks. A show like this, the shoes that it has to fill, you know, the shadow that looms over it is so large that like what they have to do to be accepted, even though it can be better than 90% of shows that are out, it's you definitely start with that handicap.
Hey, lucky for them though, they also get the opposite though, because they came right after the ugliest girl in the world for us.
Well, for us, yeah. So now we meet Esmeralda, she seemingly saw the camera.
I hated that show so much that I literally had a brain synapse fire wrong where I was like, what the fuck is Frei talking about? Did he just make fun of some woman? And I was like, are we in trouble? Are we in trouble? Are we in trouble? And remember that we watched that terrible fucking show last week. Holy shit. What an awful TV show that was.
Oh, you thought he was referring to Esmeralda as the ugliest girl?
I would have some questions if you thought that.
Yeah, so we meet her. Basically, it seems like she saw a camera and just ran up because she kind of jumped into Mare's interview. She's like an Italian woman who we find out was on like a reality show at one point.
Love at First Sight.
Married at First Sight.
Married at First Sight, yeah. Which I don't know. I don't watch a lot of reality TV. I've seen like 3 seasons of that show, and it makes me just not have any faith.
I don't want to get into
humanity.
specifics, but the other 3 of us know someone who was on that show.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
We'll off air it.
Off air, yeah. Oh my god. Recording canceled. I need to hear all
we'll
about
talk about that later.
We should have had him on the show.
I know. So we'll be with her ex tomorrow. So Esmeralda, I don't know. She's a very extreme character. I think I need time for her character to develop and to see her in situations that are going to make her more human.
I'll say this: she's a bit much, but Michael was a bit much in the pilot.
That's very fair.
For sure.
That's very fair.
Yep.
She's a bit extreme, and for me, first impression nearly ruined the show for me because my tolerance for her was very low.
She was on the White Lotus.
Yeah, then the newest season of it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And but yeah, no, I can agree. It was laid on pretty thick with her character.
I think it makes sense for her character though, coming from she had her 15 minutes of fame being on a reality show, and now she's gonna be on TV again.
Yeah.
Like I get it, for sure. And she's talking about like, you know, Mare's making the job sound too simple. You know, you have to. By the way, she's Italian. She has a strong accent. I'm not going to do that throughout the episode, but she's talking about how you need to have like a nose for the news.
You can do that one. You're okay.
The one I can do. I am Italian.
She's all like bobbity bibbity bobbity boopity.
Oh, what do you mean again? So we're all Italian here, by the
So
way.
we just make a pizza. Oh no, I'm Irish. I'm going to get canceled.
Ferg just is not here next week.
The camera cuts over and you can see literally across the street, the building is on fire and nobody in this office seems to know about it while the building is like literally ablaze.
It's a massive fire.
And it pans back to her and she just goes, what?
Yeah.
I think this worked out well too. I'm usually the first person to be like, digital effects don't work in these scenarios. The digital effect of that building on fire somehow is so perfect.
Yeah.
For this show that like I just smiled when I saw it instead of being mad. Like it was so fucking funny. And then we could do a callback to it later, and it's even funnier. I really enjoyed how they did this.
Her office is like enclosed and like just messy, which is dumb shit. Like it looks like she's in a thrift store. There's so much like shit in her office.
How my office would be if I ever had one.
It starts off, and again, to kind of go back with that idea that she was on a reality show. Like she's in this, she's like, which way am I looking at you? Am I here? Like she's like worried about like the setup for the cameras and everything, and eventually introduces herself. And she says that she's the managing editor and she's in charge of TTT Online, which to her is more important because it's a more fun and sexy way than the print version to do things. And that the print version only really exists for people to have something to frame when they're mentioned, which is something they try to do as much as possible. And then we see like the newspaper being held up and there's an article that just says seen around town, and it's just a list of names for people that they saw.
There's also office reference too, right? When baby Pee-Pee is born and Andy brings the newspaper article framed, but then the baby is a day late and the article is the Scranton Strangler. So that's if you want Scranton Strangler strikes again. That's her birthday frame.
I thought that's another piece of like smart writing too, because when you do find out like, oh, so-and-so was in the paper this week, like the local with their paper or whatever, like you'd buy like 3 copies of it to make sure everyone had a copy. Like if you were mentioned for a sports thing or there's a picture of you from school or whatever, like that's a real thing. Now we get back to Esmeralda and she's showing us an article that she recently did that she's so proud of on TTT Online. And the article is, you won't believe how much Ben Affleck tipped his limo driver. And this is like this is what modern online articles are.
I also love that she calls it classic long form journalism.
She's trying to justify it. She's like, you start reading and then you start scrolling and oops, an ad came up and then you keep going. And now I'm learning a lot about the history of tipping. And like after scrolling and scrolling, she eventually
You know how many times I've fucking given up? You know what? I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
That's what all these modern online articles are. And yeah, eventually she scrolls down after all this and she's like, oh, look, $300. And she starts laughing. Wow. I mean, that's a lot. But yeah, it's something that you see the headline. The answer is as simple as that. And they find a way for you to be on that website. You get bombarded with ads and all this other bullshit.
10,000 words. Yeah.
For so long just to get to that one sentence at the end, which is usually like hidden and you have to click next a few times to get more ads that pop up.
I feel like weirdly, I'm not going to get an tirade about my thoughts on AI, but I feel like that's the kind of thing that like, I bet if you read that article and you just typed into AI, whatever you wanted, Gemini or
Extracted
or whatever, like, hey, how much did Ben Affleck pay for his thing? It'd be $300. You get it in 2 seconds. You know, like it's going to kill those even stupid long form articles because like you could just search it.
And then we get back to Mare and she's like, oh, I actually wrote for Stars and Stripes, the military newspaper, when she was an M1 armored vehicle crew member. And they like show like the little picture of her like on the tank with like the people that she was in the army with. Esmeralda has some media experience though as a contestant on Married at First Sight, which we talked about earlier. And then we get back to Esmeralda who's touring the office. And she's like, oh, let me introduce you to one of my most trusted underlings at TTT. And it's Nicole.
Who we just saw a couple weeks ago in Santa Clarita Diet.
Yep.
Yes, she was the one who worked in the store, right?
She's the right employee, yeah.
You're a great dancer.
And she's like a constant in the show, too. She's not like just in the pilot. She's like a character.
Oh, yeah. She's like a main, She's like, I don't want to do this. And like Esmeralda's like, come on. And she's like, I'll get her to sign a release, don't worry. And she's like grabbing her face. She's like, look at her, how pretty she is. And like pulling at her and stuff. And then eventually we get the interview with Nicole. And she says, hi, I'm Nicole Lee. And she's, I'm in circulation. So I keep track of subscribers. And then this is another job where she's like basically wording around what she really does, which is like steal your info when you click accept all cookies.
Now I'm not hitting that anymore because I always go, I don't care.
Come on, man. Just like text me and I'll tell you how to do things better.
But I love cookies.
Cookies? Well, it's one of those things where it's told to us under the guise that this is going to help us run the website better. Like so you think it's going to like run a cleaner thing if you hit accept all the time?
I'm not doing it on shady websites. I'm doing it on reputable ones.
Doesn't matter. Okay, I will say this. Yeah, you ever like driving down the street and you're having a conversation with your lady and you're talking about a movie you want to watch or something, and then like an hour later you look at your phone and it's like Adam's Family Values, $4.99. Like they're listening to. Like every site is doing it. Like that's just a way they do things now.
I don't mind that to a degree sometimes. I think I've accepted that they're constantly listening, so I've just come to terms with it. What bothers me is if I'm like Googling something like, oh, I need new sheets. and then I buy the sheets, but now the phone shows me ads for sheets for the next month. It's like, I already bought the sheets. I don't need more sheets.
You always use new sheets.
Yeah.
Beds is a big one. We bought a mattress and I kept getting them and it was like, do you think I need more mattresses? Like, I only need a mattress.
Aren't you listening to everything I do? Didn't you see when I bought one?
Weren't you there when I groaned lugging the mattress in a tiny box up my stairs? You should have heard that too and known what was happening. It's cool they come in tiny boxes now, but those boxes are fucking heavy and hard to move. That's all I'm saying.
And then after her little thing, we get right into talking head from Detrick, who he introduces himself and he sells ads for the paper, which means he's not supposed to interact with anybody in news. We see before we even meet him, because they transition from when we see Nicole to him, like he clearly has a thing for Nicole. So he's like, so if I see someone who's like in need of like help, like I'm there for them. So
no, I thought he was just not supposed to interact with her, not anyone from news, because she does the cookies.
He says news. That was his line, that he's not supposed to talk to anybody.
Oh.
I also just love the expression, she does the cookies. It's so funny to me. New S1E1 t-shirt, she does the cookies.
So you see him like with Nicole doing like the something's behind your ear thing and like making her and Mare laugh, quote unquote, the at least entertaining what he's doing. He's like, I'm just there to put a smile on anyone's face if I see they're going through something. But then you cut to a shot of a woman crying and he walks by and notices her and then like walks right by. Because at the end of the day, it really only comes down to the fact that he has a thing for Nicole.
Yeah, that he does it as flirting. I wish this was Raisa Rani from the season where Pam had to go to art school. That would have been a good pull if she's still alive. She's an older lady, so it's hard to gauge if she is. I didn't look up if Raisa Rani's still alive.
Oh, now we see Nicole again. She says, oh, Derek thinks I'm sad all the time, but actually a lot of the times I'm just tired of pretending he cheered me up the last time.
I think that's like the most genuine comment, right? Because like we've all worked in buildings with people, right? Like you interact with every day, and sometimes you're just like, I just don't want to put up the effort anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's just, I know, like, I'm tired today, right? Like it's such a weird thing when you're with people in a room all fucking day.
And now Esmeralda's taking us on the tour a little bit longer, and that's when we get to accounting. And she's like, all right, you're going to get tired chasing my busy little body around. She's like, but here's accounting. We have 2 accountants and a head accountant. Boring, and head boring. And as she's pointing to each of them, we find out that head boring is Oscar Martinez. So he took the job in Toledo. Like we hear that Phyllis was offered a job, like they must have offered everybody. And yeah, it does make sense, like, of the people there. When you look back at how that show ended, he had, like, the least, I guess, personal ties to stay in Scranton.
Less roots, yeah, like, him and Gil are broken up. Angela would have moved away out of his house because she marries Dwight.
Yeah. They insinuate that he was getting into politics in the area, but, like, yeah, he's got, like, less reason to not start over somewhere else.
That's the one thing I wish they touched on. I wish that he was, like, a disgraced politician and had to leave the state. Like, that would have been, like, a fun, quick, like, interview aside.
Oh, like Ben in Parks and Rec?
Yes. Oscar made an ice palace in Scranton and had to move to Toledo, Ohio.
And, yeah, as soon as he sees the camera, he goes, God, not again. And he just, like, gets up and he's, like, trying to run off. And he's like, I'm not agreeing to any of this. You guys do not have any of my permission. I don't want this. You can't use my voice, my likeness, nothing. And then it just cuts to a black screen that reads, yes, we can. There's no end date on the release Oscar signed in 2005. I love that, like, they replied to him, like, directly in the show, like, with
yes,
that black
we can.
screen.
Yeah, that was I loved that.
I laughed so hard at the black screen of, like, he signed one in 2005. That's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like, unnecessary, right? Like, that takes up 10 seconds of screen time that I'm not mad about in a very long episode.
We get a real quick little jump scene after that, which I thought, like, didn't really work with me. It was Barry, and, we talk about, maybe comparing him to, like, a Stanley or something, but he's, like, the word jumble today is kind of a head scratcher. It's like, Barry, we don't have a word jumble anymore. And he's just, like, highlighting certain words in the newspaper, and I was...
He's just circling words.
It's silly, but, like, how how dumb are we supposed to make this character? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It's like they combined Stanley and Creed. Like
that. Yeah, it's a really weird thing for him to not know that that's not just a normal newspaper. And this guy seems to be not a lunatic, so this seems too dumb for him.
Yeah, he's the only actual reporter too, so it's kind of fun.
I honestly didn't read it as dumb. I read it more as like dementia.
But that's, well,
which is like not funny in a different way, but like that's kind of how I read it. Like he's not dumb. He's just like he's old and he's like slipping, you know.
That would be a very interesting thing to navigate on a show. Like if the show lasts for years, like let's watch his mental, like cognitive skills go down every season.
I mean, also we don't know what happens in future episodes, but there is an episode a few episodes later where he just steps on a box for no reason and cuts his whole leg open. Like I think he's just like he's not all there mentally.
Watching him fall after tripping on that was so fucking funny. It was so funny, though.
Look, I feel like we could be a little more about spoiler alert when it's a show that came out all at once, right? Because technically, all 11 episodes are the pilot.
It's a very quick in passing scene, but it was hilarious.
Right after that, we're meeting Ned Sampson for the first time, and we see him like walking from outside into the office area to like the main lobby. And he's talking to the camera and he's signing the visitor's log and he's telling us how he's signing it, but he doesn't actually need to. Like, this is his first day working at the Truth Teller and how excited he is and how when he was a kid, you know, he didn't want to be Superman. He wanted to be Clark Kent because Clark was the real superhero. He's saving the world by working at a newspaper.
This feels a little too like the opening of the new character in St. Denis Medical. Like the new kid's there and he's like waiting in line to like,
oh right,
but they're like, that's not a check-in line, it's a check-in for the doctor line.
It felt like we see with this character, he's like so obsessed with the idea of the newspaper and everything, like he feels like part of the experience is almost to sign into that sheet and be part of the logs,
the history. Yeah, I want more people like this though. I want more like news people, right? Like journalist people.
He's going on about that and doing more of the working at the Daily Bugle or the Daily Planet, bringing up Spider-Man as well. And he's going on, it's like, oh, and sorry, I don't want to be late. It is my first day, so I don't want to make a bad impression, you know, does the up and away. And meanwhile, like during his whole thing, like this whole interview while he was talking to us, there was a thing that happened where Mare walks in and like bumps into him and like drops her lunch or whatever and is like picking it up.
She spilled her whole salad.
Yeah, and like he's like unaware, and it gets addressed later where like I don't want to spoil that, but she looks at him like annoyed, like he did something, but at least the way it was shot, it just didn't look like it was his fault.
Yeah, they go to that a couple times, and I'm like, it's just an accident.
Yeah, and even if it wasn't an accident, I think they needed to show us more him moving into her. Like, if you watch it, it looked like he was just in place and she bumped into him.
She walked into his backpack.
I was going to say, the smart thing is that it's a backpack because he wouldn't feel the backpack.
Right, exactly. That's the point, too, is that he didn't know he did it. Like, she, like, is under the assumption that, like, oh, this guy's a dick. Like, he knocked this out of my hand, didn't help me, you know, clean it up. But, like, he didn't even know it happened. And
she also doesn't say anything.
I feel like they could have done a better job of, like, there could have been a better plot device here than this instance.
Yeah, I thought this wasn't in action done well. Like, you could have had this, but like maybe try another take or two because this one didn't really look right.
Also, I think we should mention that he's the actor that played Bill Weasley in Harry Potter.
No shit.
He is, yeah.
I never watched any of them.
He's also Henry Beard in A Futile and Stupid Gesture, which I feel like comes up a lot because a lot of like younger comic actors are in that, which I think is an amazing Netflix movie about the history of.
I was gonna say that I have seen.
Yeah, he's great in that, but also Irish, and he has no accent. He has such a great American accent, you'd never know he wasn't from, like, you know, some people you just watch and you're like, I'd never guess if you didn't know who he was. Like, I can't pick up any hint of him not.
Oh yeah, I didn't pick up on it. I didn't know, and I didn't pick up on it. So there's your proof.
I'm always just so impressed. Like, accents are so hard to do, and imagine doing an accent so well that you can act also while you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, that's so impressive. Anybody who does it.
Yeah, it always blows my mind, especially like when it's like a British actor and they do like a Southern accent. So it's
right,
like
yeah,
an accent doing an accent. And it's like, mind.
But all of us are just like talentless pieces of shit. So you see somebody who can do so many amazing things well at once, and you're like, wow, how did you do that? Jesus Christ.
We're so amazed by just general talent because we have none.
Like, I have a problem making the fucking K-cup coffee maker work in the morning. I can't imagine doing an accent and acting well at the same time. Holy shit.
But do you think you could do an accent and make a K-cup coffee in the morning? Just try it tomorrow. Just like,
I mean, when it doesn't work, I do
your,
yell crikey pretty often, but
yeah, do your best Australian
I
accent.
don't think anyone's believing it. The cat looks at me like, I don't think so, man.
We get more Ned as he gets like to the 9th floor or whatever, and he's like taking pictures of everything as he's almost looking around the walls of his new workplace as if it's a museum. There's all this newspaper history around him that he's really excited about. The point where he like is in the office itself and he's taking pictures, and there's like people like looking at him like, the fuck's he doing?
It is weird. Like if you just saw a stranger walk in and start taking pictures, like you'd be like, who the fuck are you?
When he was doing more of the Superman talk, he was talking about like Superman's kryptonite and how his is his love of journalism and also romanticizing things, which you can see in like the way he talks about the old newspaper like world.
Which is also very Michael Scott, right? Like they always talk about his like romanticizing things.
So he gets into the office and then he sees like the copy room. He's like, oh, this is so cool. And he walks in. And like as he walks into the office, Nicole sneaks in and like shuts the door on him and locks it so he can't get through. Of course, all these little offices and even this copy room, it's all glass windows, so you can still see him after she locks him in. At this point, the idea of her locking him in, did that seem extreme? Or, I mean, I know it gets explained in a minute, but
I think they explained it quickly enough that it's not.
I also don't think any room would be able to lock from the outside like that. It's a fire hazard, especially in a paper company.
But I will say this, like, knowing you guys, where you work and what you do, if some random person just walked in, would you not be, especially now in today's climate? Would
well,
you not
I
be,
work
like,
in security, so yes, I would.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, somebody walks in you don't know, and they're not like a solicitor of some sort, right? Or like an official. You're like immediately suspect, right? Because things are fucking scary nowadays.
He's not sketchy though. This guy.
He's got a backpack though. Never forget that a backpack will really freak people out.
The bright yellow backpack.
There could still be a pressure cooker in a bright yellow backpack. People are still going to be freaked out by it.
I mean, I work somewhere where I need to have like my credentials and badge with me at all times so I can physically get into certain doors. So like I'm required to like have mine visible. It has to be within a certain, like below my neck, above my waist, like area at all times. If you see someone like walking around who doesn't have something like that, you're supposed to immediately challenge them. But in this case, in this office, I don't know. I mean, I guess I can't put myself in his shoes enough or in their shoes enough to be like, what he's done is so weird that I would call the authorities.
I think it makes sense though when they explain what happened recently, right? Especially if it's a recent incident, you're like, but also like, I don't know. I think now people are just like, I don't know. If you go to the movies now, I'm looking around for the exits and like scanning people. I think it's kind of the modern, unfortunately, it's terrifying and terrible, right? That like, that's the way we think now, but like, I don't know. Anybody could be fucking psycho.
I think his biggest problem is he doesn't tell them who he is. He says, I work here, but I think that things may have changed if he told them exactly what his job is. And I won't say it because we're going to get into it.
If he had said anything to them before walking in that room, just to be like, hey, I'm so-and-so. But yeah, he's so like curious about all the newspaper stuff around him that he's not even bothering to talk to another human being yet.
Yeah, if you just said, hey, I'm Ned, I'm the new editor-in-chief. Can I speak to the head of HR or Esmeralda? Like, they would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, that would have disarmed all of them immediately.
Even if once he was locked in, if he said, I'm the new editor-in-chief, I think even if they didn't believe him, it's like, do you risk getting fired?
That's tough too. Like, I'm your boss. You're like, okay, 50-50 now. What do we do on this one? Yeah.
But now that he's locked in, he's like, hey, like, what's going on? And when she says, well, I locked you in, like, we had a security breach a month ago. We can't be too sure. And we find out a guy on acid wandered in from a jazz festival. He's like, well, that wasn't me.
Two things that I'd rather kill myself than have happen. Be on acid and be at a jazz festival. What a fucking nightmare.
Maybe that's what it takes for jazz to be entertaining.
Maybe. Speaking of The Office, just play the right note. You're not stupid. Jazz is stupid.
So he's trying to argue, like, for someone to open the door, and he's just trying to explain like what's going on. All of this has attracted a bit of a crowd now. So like most of the people who work in the newspaper are around the door. He looks at Oscar at one point. He's like, "You look very trusting. Like, will you let me in?" He's like, "No, I'm staying out of this. Best of luck." Everyone's like, question him like, "Well, what are you doing here?" Like, "I work in paper." Like, "Which paper? News or toilet?" "News." "Why would I say I work for the paper when I'm talking about toilet paper?" And that's when Tetrick goes, "We don't know you, sir. How should we know why you say the things that you say?" I do like that there's like a bit of almost everyone's a team right now when it comes to this is a possible intruder. This was like the bonding moment everyone needed.
Yeah, this like makes you believe that like sometimes they eat lunch with each other and they actually talk to each other in the same room. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some camaraderie of some point, and this like makes you believe it.
And he's trying to further explain himself, Ned. He's like, "Please, I have a meeting coming up. Who do you have a meeting with?" He's like, I'm forgetting the name." And everyone's like, "Okay, yeah, of course." He's like, "No, wait. It's something unique. Is there a fan team that works here?"
That's what he comes up with.
Oscar going, "Yeah, you'll find her in Les Mis." And I was like, there's my Oscar, the condescending corrector. You know what I mean? Like,
Condescending corrector who wants to talk about like a Broadway musical.
like that snarky comment from him, like that. I needed that from Oscar.
Have any of you guys ever seen Les Mis?
No.
I have not.
I'm not a huge musical person, but I always wonder about that one because that's like one that like from the 80s, it was like the biggest show like you had to go see on Broadway. But I'm kind of surprised that it seems like the kind of thing that would get like an every 10 years updated movie.
I think it did.
I think there's one maybe like, but like only one maybe? Like it seems like a generational thing. They'd keep trying to push it because it was like that was the Broadway movie of the 80s. Like the whole plot, there's like a whole like subplot in American Psycho of like seeing Les Mis, right? Like that was like a status symbol, you know?
Yeah, the only musicals I watch are Disney movies.
And Cannibal the Musical.
Of course.
Let's build a snowman. We can call him Gary.
That being said, I have wanted to see the Book of Mormon.
I saw it. It was good.
I have two, yeah.
Greg, you said you saw it?
Yeah.
What was your take?
I enjoyed it. It's got that South Park humor. It's not exactly, but it's got Trey and Matt's stink on it in a good way. I didn't go see it. I watched it. It's on. You can watch it online.
Oh, no. It's a play. You gotta go see that like as a play.
Plays aren't my thing.
During this whole scene where Ned's like locked in, when he's banging on the glass and it wakes up Barry, it's like a quick cut scene. I thought that was really funny. When it jumped to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love a sleep job.
And then he's like, "Please, guys, I'm genuinely claustrophobic." And he's like going on. It's like, ever since I was a kid, and he said he got stuck in his neighbor's chimney playing Christmas. And as he's giving this whole story, the guy Travis, who we kind of meet him a little bit more later, like, "Are you being serious? Because I'm actually claustrophobic, and if you're pretending, that would be very disrespectful to the claustrophobic community." He's like, "All right, I'm not claustrophobic, but I did get a little nervous in airplane bathrooms."
Did he make up the Christmas story?
No, that's Gremlins, right? That's definitely Gremlins.
How her dad died.
Yeah, that's like the part of Gremlins you're like, wait, this movie's not funny anymore.
Gremlins gets very heavy out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Everyone in the office is kind of in unison against this guy now. He's like, wait, Esmeralda, that's the name. It's Esmeralda. And now everyone's like, "Oh, okay. You got the name right." And Nicole's like, "Wait, he gets one name right, and now you guys are like letting your guards down?" Right as that's happening, Mayor walks in, and he's like, "Are you Esmeralda?" And she goes, "No, I'm the woman you hit." And everyone's like, "Oh!" She's like, "No, calm down. He knocked my salad to the ground." And he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I did that." Now that it's coming up again, that's why I mentioned earlier, in live time, it looked like it was 100% like she's not paying attention. Then neither of them are paying attention, but she's the one walking forward. This all happens behind him. So when she's introducing him to everyone, like, "Oh, that's the guy who hit me," or like knocked me to the ground. Like, okay, but did he? And I think they could have did a better job maybe making that look like a more confused situation for the two of them.
Yeah.
For when they bring this up later.
It shows how docile she is too, like just like a good person, right? Because if that happened to any one of us, be like, "What the fuck, man?" Like you would be like, nobody would be quiet about your salad getting split like that.
I wouldn't be upset.
Or maybe more sad that I was eating a salad for lunch. I'd be like, "That's fine. That's what I get."
You can knock my salad over anytime.
Oh, I guess that's the universe telling me it's time for chicken parm. Back to the restaurant.
So now Nicole finally unlocks the door and everyone starts introducing themselves to him. When Travis goes up to do it, he's like, "Hey man, nice to meet you." He looks like he's like going for a hug, but then he just starts giving him like a TSA type of pat down.
Very Dwight move.
It is a very Dwight move. You're right.
I think he's clean. Nice to meet you, brother.
The brother after makes it.
So he walks off. Now it's just Ned and Mare talking. Mare's like, "Nobody told me they were adding somebody unless I'm being fired from the paper. Am I being fired? No. They're just adding me." Like, oh, okay. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't expect to get locked in on my first day." She's like, "Well, you all right? Do you want to sit down?" He's like, "Actually, I could use some food. Like, I do owe you a salad." But when she walks off because she has to grab something, there's that nice little like pan over, and you just have Barry who's like staring fucking daggers at him from his seat.
Oscar brings him some water.
I feel like Barry is like designed to become everybody's favorite character at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And then from there, we get them walking into like this little soup and sandwich spot. I don't know if it's in the building or not, but it looks like it could be like a bottom floor of the building type of place.
Yeah, I assume this is like, first floor of the building has like a cafe in it.
And they're like talking and they're just kind of, this is like a good, like, this is one of those scenes where we get a little exposition, you know what I mean? Find a little bit of like their backstories. So he's talking about like that he studied journalism. And then after that, like he started working for his dad. Working with his dad, he was selling cardboard and he was like the #1 selling cardboard guy at the company there.
Glossy cardboard.
He wanted to get into journalism, but his dad wouldn't let him.
Yeah. So we started doing that, which I find is like cardboard's kind of fun. I feel like that's like another adjacent paper type of thing. You know what I mean? Kind of like ties everything together.
But that's also not ever going anywhere.
Yeah, like use cardboard a day all the time.
Yeah, thanks, Amazon.
I know. Thanks to Amazon, cardboard is. Thanks to Amazon, they're gonna have to find a replacement for cardboard eventually. I feel because there's only so many trees.
I mean, it's so known too. Like when I walk into the post office, if I have like records, small or big, immediately the person at the counter is like media mail. Like people know cardboard so well now. They know like Amazon box. They even know what a record box is, right? Like it's you just know what boxes are now.
Fun fact about cardboard: it attracts centipedes.
It does attract centipedes, which is not ideal because I have a pile of.
They like to eat the glue they use.
While they're eating, Mayor's like, and by the way, what's going on over here? And he has like food that's like scraped into different sections. He's like, oh, this is like won't eat. This is goes better by itself. And, so like, even though he has like a salad,
I get it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
as weird as it was, it's like this is relatable. Yeah.
You ever feel bad if you forget to say? Do you like ever like a burger? I think is a good example, right? Like you order a burger and like you're a restaurant and like you don't necessarily say like, "Can I just have X, Y, and Z?" And then you feel guilty when they come back and they're like, "Sorry, you wasted 4 onions on this burger. I'm not gonna eat." Like you like have food on the plate. You're like, "I'm never gonna eat this. Sorry." Like I always feel bad about that.
Because that's another dead onion.
Unless it's a dead onion that's fried and battered, I do not want to eat it.
I like that Ferg is turned into the onion punisher. Another onion off the streets. I feel like that every time I get, like, if you go to a diner and you get like a pickle on the side, you know what I mean? Like the spears, like I'm never going to touch that. That's a waste of pickle.
I just can't fathom the two of those things. Like pickles and onions are just,
I don't like either.
I could just like cut up a bowl of pickles and onions, just diced. I could just spoon that down.
You would smell so Italian.
Yeah, your breath and
care.
your sweat would be so bad. I love pickles. I don't like onions, so I'm 50-50 with you here. But
The good thing about pickles, though, Jay, you don't have to worry because there's always someone that'll eat them because we eat them, but everybody else likes them.
I know, everyone loves them. So, yeah.
So someone will eat them.
If you're sitting with a group of people, or even one person usually, and you get pickles and you don't like them, and you don't want pickle, usually the person's going to be like, "Fuck yeah, free pickle."
So for the most part, yes. And if you went to like most of the like classic diners that had like a really like a more crunchy pickle where it's not like all sloppy, like and it's on the side of your like burger and fries or whatever, like for the most part I can deal with it. I could even pick it up and hand it to you like as much as I just like to gross me out. But the problem is those pickles, if they're too close to the fries, and you end up with a couple French fries that have pickle taste
fry
on them. And like I hate that.
Jay, you just don't like vinegar is the problem. We've discovered that because we've discovered this through our pizza too.
I love salt and vinegar chips.
There's like the spicy vinegar peppers on some of the pizzas we get, and he doesn't like it. He does not like vinegar.
But I like some of those peppers. I remember one place in particular though where like they clearly like didn't cook off any of the vinegar, and it would taste like vinegar pizza. It was too much.
And I remember that one. It was like my favorite pizza. Like, it's so good, but so like you won't even eat like a pickle that's like barely pickled. Like it's like pretty much a cucumber still.
I love cucumbers.
Yeah, cucumbers are fine.
Like a good like kosher dill like deli spear with a sandwich that's like still pretty much a cucumber. Like you won't even that's still too much.
To move on, we cut back inside and now we see Oscar and Travis talking. It's just one of those like kind of quick conversations where he's talking about how Travis is talking about the time he was driving and like a deer jumped out and he's like, "Oh, did you brake in time?" And he's telling Oscar like, "Oh, you don't brake for deer, man. You do not brake for deer." And Oscar's like, "Yeah, don't brake for deer." And like this conversation is just, it's funny because like these two characters, like personality wise, like do not link, and Oscar's trying very hard to like engage in this conversation with them. And you feel like he's almost stuck. Like he doesn't know what to do. He almost has that like look at camera, like save me. Like I don't know how to talk to this guy.
But Oscar's got experience because he worked with Dwight and the people in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say probably more deers also in Pennsylvania than Ohio.
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know where you're getting that stat from. I have nothing to base that on.
My brain has just been all over the East Coast, and I've seen deer everywhere.
So you think they're nowhere else? This is ours?
I feel like the migration would be hard because it'd be hit by cars constantly. Yeah. Tough to cross the mid-Atlantic here.
What?
I was like cross like the mid-Atlantic region, like go west.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the Atlantic Ocean.
No. I imagine they'll die very quickly if they try
It's
to cross
Joe's
the Atlantic
fever
Ocean.
dream. Deers getting hit by cars in the ocean.
When Joe played Oregon Trail, he always just made them walk across the buffalo.
I couldn't breach the deer fjord.
You got off easy. My guy's always died of dysentery.
For years, I thought it was you couldn't fjord a river. It's like, just assumed that's how you got across a river until someone was like, that's a different type of waterway. I was like, okay, thank you. Almost 40.
When we cut back to Ned and Mare, she's asking, so what happened after Cardboard? He's like, I don't really want to get into it. It's kind of private. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then he immediately gets right into it. And he talks about a time where he went home for Thanksgiving and his mom basically told everybody that his father was cheating and has been for like years with the woman who lives on their street. It was actually the woman who taught him how to play piano, and he lost it and he was screaming and he's like, you're a bad man. I'm not going to work for you anymore. I hate everything about you. So he refused to like work at the cardboard place after that. Because of that, his dad felt bad enough that he did his best to get him like in touch with the guy on the board at Enervate, the company that like owns all this stuff that he knew, and like got him in an interview.
No, that's kind of bullshit though. You're too mad to work for your dad, but you'll still take his handouts.
It's a little like accepting the Nepo thing, you know, like, fuck
Yeah.
you, dad, but like, I'll take the fucking.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's even like her response. That's like, wow, that's a really inspiring story, you know, for all that, despite all that nepotism in it.
I do like that he understands that too, though, and kind of smiles at her. It is like, yeah, I know. Like, it gives the character, it doesn't make him a villain in that scenario, you know? He like, at least he understands. Like, our kids will all be podcast Nepo babies.
Now we cut back inside and we see Adam and Adelola, who like we saw both of them earlier, like when Ned was locked in the thing, but this is the first time we're kind of putting some spotlight on them. And we're seeing them at their desks, and Adelola's watching Adam, and he's like going through his lunchbox, which looks like a child's lunchbox. And we're getting her narration into like a talking head where she's saying he's 32 and has 4 kids, and his wife makes them all the same lunch every day. And he just kind of gets like the extras, and that's like his lunch. And she said, I think he was hired under some initiative that gives jobs to poor religious people with no skills. She's like, honestly, I can't imagine how he keeps going. And then it cuts to him and his talking head. He goes, I think Adelola is a very emotional person. I catch her looking at me with tears in her eyes.
I love this relationship.
Yeah, they're going to be two people who, if I was to assume, like throughout the season, depending on how long the show goes, are going to be like, they're like adversaries, but they're truly best friends. Like when all is said and done, like they're going to be really close. And then I hate to do it because of The Office, but it's almost the Angela Oscar dynamic, you know?
We're like by the end of season 9 where Oscar says, Angela, come live with me. You're like, heart opens so big. You're like, oh my God, it's happening.
We go back to Ned and Mare. He's asking her, like, how do you like working here? She's like, it's fine. Like, what does that mean? I don't know. Have you read this paper? Yeah. And what do you think? How does it compare with other papers? And Ned's like, it sucks. And she's like laughing. She's like, correct. He's like, it compares badly to any other printed material, but we're going to make it better. He's like, I'm sorry, I don't even know if it's a real paper. I mean, like, it's local ads and clickbait with like 4 AP stories and high school sports score on the cover. He's like, well, it's something to start with. And she said, sure, why don't we talk it after you meet your new boss, though? He's like, I met Marv. He's great. She's like, no, Esmeralda. Isn't she the intern, like, managing editor? Yeah. Right. They hired me to be the editor-in-chief. Above Esmeralda? Yeah. And she had, like, this weird, like, look-to-camera thing where she was like, like, but maybe, like, in an optimistic way, too, because she does actually care. If anyone in this place gives any type of care towards newspaper and like the integrity of it, it's her. She like wrote for newspaper before this. So like that's big news knowing like the new guy actually in charge is like a dude who's like, he's a good guy. He acknowledges that this newspaper sucks. He wants it to be better.
And they don't say how long she was interim too, right? Like, so like, you've had this interim person in place for long enough that like you're just used to no one giving a shit.
Yeah, I assume it was a long time.
I'll say this though, this whole scene and the build up in like this episode, it leads me to believe that this is supposed to be a will they, won't they? And I don't see it as like, I don't see them in a couple dynamic. And maybe that's my eye triggering every time I see a guy and girl get along in an episode.
Yeah, I think that's probably, I don't get
Oh,
that.
it definitely is, but it's also the power dynamic of him being the boss. It's like kind of wrong.
Doesn't he seem older? Not that it's like too old or anything, but he seems older, right?
No, I assume they're the same age.
Yeah,
around then.
Maybe a little older, but nothing drastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they're probably going for that, but I don't know. I wasn't really thinking about that.
Also, she's a North Shore girl. She's from Andover.
Oh, no shit. Oh, North,
Nate.
like our state in general.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
our general location of Massachusetts. Yeah, she was likely living down the street when she was 9 when I was having red invasion practices in Andover a million years ago.
Did you know her?
She was one of our biggest fans. Yeah. They showed her bike by and was like, "That's so stupid. Shut up."
Now, do you guys think Esmeralda had the heads up that this was her replacement coming?
No, I think she had no idea this was happening. Because I think Ken doesn't relate any actual... I don't think Ken even absorbs any news, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's just like a day-to-day guy.
Yeah, because now we're seeing the three of them all meeting together. So it's Ned, Ken, and Esmeralda. Ned's saying like, oh, it's, nice to meet you. I know, to Esmeralda, I know you've been supervising things for a while, so I hope it's not too disruptive to have me come in and sort of shake things up. He goes, no, don't be so self-defecating.
I love that.
She's like, come on, I can't wait to hear your ideas. And then like, we get to like an inside shot of them like on the conference room together. And he's saying like, I don't expect things to happen overnight, but like I am going to need a full staff and like multiple local beats with like dedicated reporters, like a city beat for daily stories, a sports beat. And then Ken picks up his phone and goes, hey, 911, yes, my budget is having a coronary. And in the background, you can hear from the phone, like the actual like 911 operator going, what's the address in your emergency? He's like, I've called them. I actually called them.
I do love his... Because he doesn't look at the camera. He like says it to himself. Where he's like, oh shit, I actually called them.
Now they're like, so these positions you want, these would be paid? Like, yeah, but they would make the paper worth reading again.
He wants to shut down the internet part. And that's the only thing bringing in money from selling ads. And now he's telling them to hire more people. I think he should probably keep that open if they want to pay more staff. One doesn't have to die for the other to live.
I agree, but I also think he's thinking if the paper is readable again, people will pay for print ads again. So you can make it like a if you eliminate the internet part of it, the people who bought the ads on the internet site will pay for them in print.
Well, it's not that he wants to like get rid of the internet. It's more that he wants to get rid of like the clickbaity shit. But yes, that's the shit that is driving in the revenue, right? Because of all the ads attached and like the pop-ups and all that other shit.
We live in a bad world now.
Yeah, at this point, you need to you kind of have to wean off of that, right? Because you're going to need the funds from that bullshit to help you get to this next point. Because you already don't have enough money to do the things you want to do. So you can't cut off one of your few like revenue sources to get there.
That's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Spider face?
Spite your face.
I got you, Jay. Boom roasted.
Yeah. So he's talking about like, we need to go back to basics and, local focus and fact-based reporting and like how exciting all this could be.
Sorry, but some things there's no going back. You're not going back to print. It's not ever going to take off again. There's the old people that will still do it. You have to stay in the digital world. And you can still have a really good paper, just have it be digital. And you can still include your paper, but it's never going back to that. Ever.
Again, I think there's a misconception of what he's talking about. Because I do think he's talking about getting rid of the online version of the pre-done articles and clickbait stuff in the scroll down 50 pages just to get to the one-word answer. He's not saying let's shut down the online operations.
I thought he said close down ttt.com.
No. It was more the clickbait stuff he wants to get rid of. So you would still have an online paper, but with integrity to it, to that you're a reporting source that people would reference to. So what he wants is, it's still kind of an uphill battle, even with that, because all our brains are mush now, but
yeah, our brains are mush, our fucking attention spans are gone.
We have Ken kind of saying Enervate is in good health, largely because of softies. The toilet paper is really what's driving in all the revenue for this company. And he says, Enervate is Tom Brady. Very healthy, very rich, can definitely take a joke if it's a roast. It's just that his kids that he was worried about. That's the quote from the show.
Fuck you, Tom Brady. There's literally a commercial now about Tom Brady making fun of himself for being bad at roasts. I just saw the other day. So it's not just me.
No, it's, I don't have to, we can't talk about this every episode. I knew that it was going to come up because Tom Brady was mentioned.
Yeah, it's all I think about.
You can't take a joke. Anyways, basically the newspaper's being described as a mouse hiding behind Tom Brady's fridge. So basically, all this is saying is hey, the newspaper exists, but the newspaper is kind of hanging on by a string. So let's not shake things up. The softies is making us the money. Just do what we're doing here. We cut to Adelola at her desk. This is all during this interview meeting thing. We're kind of cutting out in live time. And we cut to her desk and she gets an email from Esmeralda titled Welcome Ned Sampson. And then we're seeing shots of other people all getting this email. It's a company-wide thing coming out. And we get back into the meeting. And as they're talking now, we get a man open the door. And he goes, hey, Ned? Yeah, I just want to say I got your back.
This is my favorite joke of the entire episode. The payoff of this is so fucking great.
He's like, I've been there. And shuts the door and walks away. He's been there. Who is that? He works in envelopes. Actually, I don't even know if he still works here. Then we have Adelola walk up to the window and she's just staring at Ned. Eventually walks off. And then we have someone else walk up and he's takes a picture of Ned. And he's like, what's going so now he's like, can you excuse me for a second? He walks out for a second and heads to Mare's desk and she shows him the email that went out. And he cuts back to the conference room and he walks in again and he says hey, can we talk to Esmeralda? And drags her out and they go down to a hallway. Did you just send an email to everyone here saying that I was not Me Too'd? She's yes, because I didn't want you to start off on the wrong foot. But I wasn't. Yes. In fact, that's why I said he was not Me Too'd. I don't think. I've never been Me Too'd. I was also never embezzled or slapped a waitress.
This is so smart because you don't see the actor who knocks on the door again, who says, I've got your back. The rest of the episode, they just let
he's not even credited with a name. Yeah.
He's just a guy who has also been Me Too'd. who knocks on the door. Like, that's the funniest fucking joke in the whole episode to me. It's so fucking great.
She's like, should I tell him? It's like, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, in reference to when he said that he's never like embezzled or slapped a woman. Like, you don't have to say has not done this. It's not assumed that you do. And she's going, hey, you're preaching to the choir, but these are simple people. To them, a man leaves his job, moves to a new town. They think, I wonder what was his evil crime. Did he do it to a person, an animal? Animal? I hope he doesn't do it to me. That's why I wrote a mass email to everyone. So, instead they would think, wait a minute, hold on. Maybe I should wait and see. What if my gut instinct against him is not completely right? And he's like, all right, Esmeralda, this is bad. This is really bad. She's like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to tell everybody what I wrote in the email is completely incorrect, okay? He goes, thank you. He goes, no, wait. That's worse. He's like, and now he's like, I think this needs to come from me. And then the two of them like run out to the main area where everybody is. And Esmeralda's like, everyone. And like, she's like, of course I'm not talking about the toilet people. And she says, Nat Simpson here would like to say something, right? And then he's like, yeah, thank you guys. My name is Ned Sampson. Looks over to Adelola, is like, do you mind if I stand on your desk? She's like, if you must. And like, he gets up and like, it's a mess when he does it.
Smartly does it, not well, right? Like, knocks stuff over.
Yeah. And then he gets on the desk and goes, okay, hi everyone. My name is Ned Sampson. I'm your new editor-in-chief. I believe that there is an email going around, but well, we'll talk about that later. I just had a meeting with Ken and Esmeralda, and it sounded to me like the changes that I was hoping to make so that the Truth Teller could once again become a great Ohio paper. Sounds like those changes are too expensive to implement right now. That being said, I am going to make these changes one way or another. That's why I'm here. So feel free to let me know if you'd like to help out or if you'd like to do some original reporting that includes anyone working on this floor. And then Travis, who works in like softies, is like, does that mean us too? No. Well, are you interested? I don't know. I might be. All right. Well, fantastic. Our first news reporter, possibly, if he's interested. We'll see now. I understand.
Does this mean for free? Is that what he's saying?
Kind of.
Like, I don't have the money, but if you want to help, like,
I think it's more
kind of
like,
perceived that way.
Yeah, let's all start this together, and then like we'll make you, because they're not going to lose their other job, right? So like,
yeah,
they're not going to have to do it for free, but like in their spare time away from softies, they can also be part of the paper.
If you want to take part in this project for now, yeah, and maybe it could lead to something. Because he is saying, I'm going to eventually get all the things I want. So he is looking for paid positions in these areas. So maybe when the time comes, you could apply for that job and be a full-time photographer or reporter for the newspaper. And now Dedrick gets up on his desk. He's like, oh, I, for one, I think this is stupid. I like things the way they are. And you get a talking head with him. He said, I saw Esmeralda was mad and I knew it was only a matter of time before she took it out on someone. So I had to act. And then he goes, as an advocate for consent, I think Mr. Me Too over here, he doesn't belong. No means no. And he's like, he also doesn't know the hierarchy right now, which is like part of it, right? So he just sees this new guy who he just thinks got Me Too'd.
I do like that he's just dumb in this scenario as a whole. He like doesn't know where to fucking land.
Well, he's thinking Esmeralda's the boss. I need to be on her team, right? And she's not happy with what he's seeing or what she's seeing. So then Nicole's like, hey, idiot, sit down. And then you see like a little shot of Adam sitting on the floor. It's like, no, the other idiot. And then Ned keeps going on. All right, well, thank you. And as I was saying, the changes might be too expensive right now. But be that as it may, if you've ever wanted to be the first person to know what's going on in a place where you live, or if you want to make sure that the people who are running the city are telling the truth and are doing the things that they said they're going to do, or if you just root for the underdog, you are more than welcome, all of you, to volunteer your time at this newspaper. So Marv, is it okay if we borrow a few of these guys for like a few hours a week outside of their regular duties if they want to participate? And then Marv, who's there, is like, yeah, that's all right to start. So, Berg, to kind of go back to like what you were asking earlier, it's not like extra work, but if they're being told like, hey, 3 hours a week you get to do work for the paper, like that's like excusing them from their normal work in a way, it sounds. So as long as you're fitting it into your 40 hours, it's not like you're doing more, or maybe they'll be a little lighter on their work. I don't know the structure of their work, if that means they have to do more or less.
And I think everyone would agree to that, right? Like, you can do a different thing instead of your work all the time. Why don't you write a story about a dog, right? Like, you can just like find a way to make that be a thing you'd be interested in.
The thing is, like, some jobs, it's like, it depends on your job, right? Like, my job is very, like, I'm at a desk for 40 hours, but my job entails me doing work that's kind of like live in the moment. Like, I don't have like long-term project type things. It's more like, this is the work that needs to be done right now. Like Ferg, you know what I mean? Like, you're like similar, right? Like, yours is more like live and in the moment, where the Nick, Joe, like, you guys have a lot more like project-based kind of duties a lot of the time. So like, you could procrastinate or do things right away. And like, if you get your stuff done early, that might give you some extra time. Or if you took on a job like this, it almost means like you're doing more work. Whereas if me and Ferg took on a job like this, it means we're excused from our normal duties for a few hours to be able to do this work. So I guess it depends on your job. And I don't know the softies business structure.
We learn more of it, and it seems like it's pretty loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
I would just write articles about toilet paper.
2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, win-win.
So he's saying, Ned's going on fantastic. This is great news. And if that sounds good to anyone, if you would like to talk to me about this or anything, you could find me here, or you could email me at salesgod@softychicago.com, or at a work email, which I'm going to set up maybe tomorrow for this place. And says, thank you to everybody. And then goes to like get off the desk and then realizes right before he gets down that he forgot to say something and jumps back up, and like it makes like another mess. But he goes, the Me Too thing? Me didn't. Me wouldn't. Me believe in respect in workplace. Me haven't. And I thought that was really funny.
I love this. That's a great writing, right? Like, the keeping the me thing in there is so funny.
We get to this like talking head of Esmeralda, who's being interviewed like in the lobby area downstairs. And she's saying, in America, there's a saying about accepting the things that you cannot change. In Italy, we do not have that saying. And we see like people clearing the stuff like out of her office, because seemingly that's going to be Ned's office now that like the, her interim duties are done.
Did they say what her job was before interim? Like, going back to another position?
They didn't say what her job was beforehand, but I assume she's going to still be involved in the newspaper, but like on the line is my guess.
Yeah, I feel like she's more like a reporter now, only, not like any in charge of.
And then we get to like this cut to like the old stock footage again. It's like, that guy John, who's like the narrator from the stock footage, the old documentary. And you see them talking to like a boy who I think like, well, he had like an elevated job, like he like ran the company or something like that. The guy who's narrating the old
Yeah, I think
footage.
he's the editor at this point.
And he's talking to a floor worker. He's like, I bet my name's inside that smock. He's like, oh yeah? And he's like, yeah, I've done every job here. And he's kind of saying like, I may be soft in my older age, but I've done everything. I worked the baler, I worked the press, I did it all. It kind of cuts out and you see Ned in the office watching the documentary when Mare happens to walk over and knocks and ask if she can leave for the night. And he's like, yeah, sure. And then he's like, but have you ever seen this? It's a documentary from the 70s about this newspaper. It's called Newspaper. He's like, oh yeah, I have. Like, it's amazing. And then she goes, actually, do you want to see something? You see her like bringing him down to like the lower area of the building. And he's like, where are we going? She's like, it's downstairs. He's like, are we going outside? Is there a food truck with Chicago deep dish? No. Am I being hazed? Like, I want to stay up front. I don't like being hazed. No. And then like they get downstairs. He goes, is it asbestos? Because I can smell it. She's like, no. Ooh, is it a smutty pinball machine?
Asbestos, horsehair. There's so much terrible stuff in that building.
Grandfathered in. They don't have to. When stuff like that exists, like some of those
Knob
old
and tube
codings,
wiring. Yeah.
as long as you don't have to make any like major renovations, it's like it's grandfathered in. And second you like do any work, that's like every building's excuse to not upgrade. By the way, every company I've worked for, it's like, oh, we can't, because if we do any work on this, we actually have to go into full compliance with everything else, and we lose our grandfathered in part.
That's actually a big issue Disney has at in Orlando. Specifically in Tomorrowland, a lot of those old buildings, they can't change anything. That's why it's so old and shitty.
I imagine that's probably all knob and tube, right? Where you have to like just fix and splice in, and yeah, because it was all done in what 61, 62, yeah.
Like this whole like section, there's like a ride buried that's just not open. There's nothing there. They can't do anything because it's also connected to a restaurant. And if they do anything, asbestos will fall on
No
the
food, yeah.
When they walk by and he's like, "Oh, is it that smutty pinball machine?" Like, no. He's like, "No. I was hoping it was gonna be the pinball machine."
That's a great surprise.
And you look at it, it says the pinball. I wanted to look it up to see if it was right. It's got to be fake, but it was a pinball machine that was called Bad Girls from Space.
That feels like a Bally's one or something that existed, yeah. It's the Rocky pinball machine, and Sylvester Stallone comes. Oh, Burt Ward comes in and not Burt Ward.
Throws the bottle at it in Rocky 3. That was I think we've talked about this place before, like on the show, but for people in our general area, like up in New Hampshire, which is not too far north, a couple hours north of where we live, is a place called Fun Spot. In the upstairs of Fun Spot, it's like a arcade, but the upstairs part is the oldest of old like cabinet games and pinball. It's like a just transforms you right back into your childhood when you walk in there.
Amazing, yeah.
There's a Bad Girls pinball machine. That's real. I don't know if it's Bad Girls from Space. The background looks pretty spacey.
Anytime I was at Fun Spot, Kiss Pinball was like my favorite thing to do as a kid. I thought it was the coolest thing.
They always had the Nightmare on Elm Street one, and it never worked. Still there and doesn't work.
What a nightmare. Is
it like older or is it like a newer style pinball? Like, is it like
it's older.
Yeah,
from
with
the
that
80s.
era.
I will say, though, I don't know if you guys watch a lot of like American Pickers or Pawn Stars or those shows. Like every once in a while, they pop onto like an old pinball machine and they pull the boards up and they pull everything out. And you're like, it's like a jukebox the same way. You have to be like a very specialized person to know how to fix any of that. It is a million wires, a million circuits. It's fucking crazy that they figured that shit out back then. To fix one now, though, most people are dead. Like nobody knows how to like even work on that shit. So the Nightmare on Elm Street one not working anymore makes sense because like they have to find somebody and probably pay them a really good premium to like know what they're doing to fucking fix it. And they're like, we'll just make sure the Addams Family one's working. Who cares, right?
But the old ones were at least a little more simpler in nature. Like the new pinball machines that are out that have like all these like almost mini games injected into them and like bonuses. Like those are so involved. But I love them. I love playing pinball.
It's one of those dumb things I would always love to have in my house. I just want like one pinball machine.
As they're like walking past that, they turn the corner. Right before they make it into the final room, there's this guy, Nate, who's like sitting on the floor. Or he's sitting on a couch, like basically by the door. And he's telling them, like, don't make a mess. All right. He's like, I'm not cleaning up after you guys. And then like they walk in the room and then she's like, ta-da. And it's like the old like machine that physically prints the papers.
The rolls of paper are so fucking big.
And the way it was like almost like to me, the way she showed it to him, it was like this old machine. She said it was manufactured in 1965 in Rockford, Illinois. Are they still physically printing papers? Because I feel like it was almost shown to him as if they don't print the paper anymore.
But they still do. I mean, to print on that kind of paper, you have to print the same style of printing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Modern printers can print on just about anything. I'm sure there's a much smaller process now.
I think those big like wheels of paper, though, the rolls, I think those are still like how you do it. Because even if you get like...
It's a more efficient, quick way than like a standard printer anyways.
I'm not even going to pretend to know. I have no fucking clue.
But I was just like, is this an active machine? Because the way she brought him down was almost like, look at the secret part of the basement. But otherwise you would think there'd be, I don't know, like it just seemed like the room was a little, it wasn't lively enough. Like there wasn't enough people down there. Like there was just the one guy who's like kind of supervising the area.
I think that's like the juxtaposition though, right? Like now it's like that's all it takes is this one guy to print however few copies they have to print versus 71.
Oh, I thought that one guy was just a security guard.
Oh, I kind of read it as he was like the one guy who prints the paper.
Also, I have an issue with the fact that she says don't touch anything. He presses the button and there's zero payoff.
Yeah.
That's like classic Simpsons. Stop the presses. That takes 4 hours.
Because they kind of like get into it like a little after that, right? Because she's telling him that and there is like I feel like that's the reference later when we cut back to like the old footage. We'll talk about that in a minute. I feel like that's like what that was referencing. Because when he pushes it like nothing happened and it was kind of like, meh, meh. But while they're talking, he gets like that little like, oh, my phone's buzzing. And it's an email from Travis, and he's like, hey, I'd like to take pictures of my dog. Can I take pictures for the newspaper? And he's like, oh, we got a photographer, and she's like, yeah, he's weird, but he takes good pictures. Like we're starting the team's being built, right? Like we're getting there. And then he gets like Adam also like from accounting is the next email, sports ? So we're seeing the newspaper's new life is starting to take shape.
What would your guys' category be if you had to all write for a paper?
Movie reviews.
Okay, Ferg's movie reviews.
I'd probably do something in food.
Food reviews.
I mean, Nick, your like sandwich column, I think would be that's a column,
Yeah,
right? Like a
that's a good
review of
idea.
Italian
Sandwich.
sandwiches. Yeah.
There was a time when I was younger where I'd say sports all day, but I still love sports, but I don't as passionately watch sports as I did 5-10 years ago or even longer.
You would if it was your job.
That's true. If I was being paid to pay attention to sports at all times, maybe I would pay better attention. But yeah, now I think it'd probably be like local beat, like interesting, like, hey, these new like cool shops or restaurants in the area. Like I would probably want to focus on that kind of stuff.
I will say this, when I watch the news in the morning, I try to watch the news every day, just to like 20 minutes-ish to see what's going on in the world. And when it cuts
Just to get real depressed.
Yeah, just to be like so bummed out about everything. When it cuts to the sports, I always laugh because I'm like, those don't feel like news people to me. It makes sense. Where it's like, a UPS plane just crashed and 12 people are dead. We think a kid too. But bingo, bango, bongo, that home run went off the front. It's like, okay, you can't like put those two together. Like you need like a weird separation. I feel like ESPN's kind of the greatest thing ever because like just go to sports,
But if you're like a sports journalist, if you're like an Adam Schefter, like he's working 24/7. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, guys who like are running down leads and actually doing sports news for sure.
So like those guys are like busy constantly. The first to break almost every big story in sports.
I just think that sports makes sense as its own news, Like that's why ESPN in the morning and like SportsCenter makes sense because like you're watching that because you want sports news, not mixed into like tragedy or whatever weird things happening in the world at the time.
Crazy is you don't have to be the next Adam Schefter. You're just gonna be the next guy below and wait for him to tweet something and then write his story
And share it. Yeah. Treat him like he's AP. Like, now that they're getting all this stuff like together, like, oh, maybe we should like write like put all this down. He's like, yeah, get a corkboard. Like, oh, old school. Okay, boss. That cuts back to the documentary footage. And that's when I think that's why he pushed the button earlier and called attention to it because we saw nothing happen. But then in 1971, he's like, see this button here at the bottom of the machine? That's where the magic happened. That's a magic button, I call it. And we push that button and the machine starts to rumble. And all those papers, the 900 people in the building, all the information that they've gathered, all the stories they found gets fed into the machine along with the paper, and this process happens. He's like, it's kind of the alchemy of what comes out at the end is the truth. It's the truth teller. That's what we do. Now, I don't mean to be blasphemous, but I worship at the altar of this machine. So we're seeing like, when Ned touches, like, I wonder what this button does. And then like, we cut back to, the time that he's really yearning for. And we're hearing that guy who was him, 40 years back, going 50 years ago and going like, this is like a magic button, like, and all this magic happens once you hit it. And I think it's the idea is like one day, like he's going to hit that button again and we're going to like fire off all the work that's being done by like this new crew.
We're going to reinvigorate the whole news system.
Yeah.
I had a bit of nostalgia for this too. I mean, Nick, you can relate to this too when we worked at that convenience store gas station, right? Like Sunday morning or even any morning to work early, the truck drove up and just tossed a big bale of papers at you and you like cut the bindle open with the knife and you put them out and you were like, that's people's news for the day. But that's not the case anymore. And that was only 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you even had that special knife. Do you remember that?
To not fuck up the paper because then you can't take them back. Yeah.
Take that, Lenny. And after that little like footage, we got like the exterior shot, like the fade out, and we see the building across the street on fire again.
That building's been on fire for the whole day. It's terrifying.
Yeah, for hours. And the credits start to run, and then like after about 4 seconds of credits, we flash back out of it, and it's back. The camera's back on Oscar, and he goes, no, I'm not playing. I'm going to make this unusable. And he's just like, fuck. And it bleeps him. And he's like, use that. And then he swears again. He's like,
a man's member is out of his fly.
the things he's saying, and he's trying to be as vulgar as possible, but he's not vulgar in nature. So the stuff he's saying is so funny.
I would like to guess, I didn't look this up, but I would hope that it was just, they were like, go. Like, just riff. Because it feels like that's what makes that so much funnier, right? Like, I don't want this to be something written by a writer. I want Oscar to have just riffed this all in. Just be like, areola. Like, that's so fucking funny.
And you just know there's like 20 takes of like other things he said, and like I hope those get released to the world.
And you know the whole fucking crew was laughing the entire time, and to like fucking edit that out.
And it's by far my favorite scene of the whole episode.
Yeah, he's going. There's a lot of bleeps, but then it's funny because like they bleep out areola, but then you hear him say areola like a second later. Like the bleeps are like inconsistent.
They also bleep when he says fuck, and somebody said fuck earlier in the episode, so I was confused why they didn't bleep that one.
I like the idea that Oscar is held to a different standard. Yeah.
According to Be Cool, you can say fuck once in a movie.
It's funny you say that because there's a huge Elmore Leonard tie-in to this show, I think in the next episode.
But yeah, that ends up being like the true close to the episode was that little Oscar thing. And then, the credits are kind of running during that. Sometimes we talk about like, hey, this is the logical point where this episode should have ended. And especially a show like this that broke the 30-minute mark. Like typically I'd be like, okay, we didn't need this last scene. It would have ended just fine with what we had because it had the proper fade out and kind of like the nice heartwarming moment. But instead we get this and I'm totally on board. I think this was a good final scene.
Amen, brother.
And I'll always say I hate a 32-minute episode for notes, but I've seen this pilot 4 times. It never felt like it dragged on unless I was doing notes for it, which I think is pretty telling, right? Like it's pretty breezy if you're not being analytical about it.
So yeah, I mean, we've already been going for a while, so I don't want to go too far after the episode before we get into the green light or cancel. But yeah, I mean, this is, again, to not get into the same conversations over and over again, but we're seeing a proper Office spin-off show that has its own identity at least, but familiar. It's a familiar vibe. You can kind of tell it's the same camp with Greg Daniels, but I don't know. We'll touch on it in the green light or cancel, but I feel like as far as a show that's people's expectations are going to be so high when a show like of that caliber has some sort of a spin-off attached to it. And then to like really not to have a spin-off that really didn't spin off of a particular character or anything other than the fact that Oscar's going to be in it as like a very secondary character. I don't know. I think all things considered, they did it in a way that made sense. As far as whether or not it was the right thing to do, we'll talk about, I guess now with the green light or cancel because we have gone on a while. So Joe, I'll start with you.
I've been trying to like put my thoughts together in this. I fucking love this. Honestly, we watched it, like I said, a few times. We watched it the first time all the way through within a day. And then it's in Peacock. There's a weird thing where like if you're watching something, it just will start over a show and it would just start over again. And we would just watch it again. Maybe not all the way through, but like 2 or 3 episodes. Even last night, we were both super fucking tired. Finished my notes. It was like episode 2 just started and we just watched another 2 episodes until bed. I think that probably says a lot about a show, right? If you don't want to turn it off. And I think, Jay, you mentioned earlier, it's got the DNA of The Office, but it doesn't have to be so beholden to it. Where I think The Farm may have not worked the way this does. This is about an office. This is about paper tangentially. And it is about one person or 2 people, I guess, if you see Bob Vance. And we mentioned Phyllis and Stanley, who were part of that old thing, but it's its own thing. And I think that maybe we needed that like 10 or 12 years to get to the way to do an Office spinoff that worked and give the distance to make it not be so connected. I really, really enjoyed this. I was really excited when a second season got announced. The only issue I really had with it was in the final episode because I feel like they did push the Jim and Pam thing a little bit and then rushed it. But I also kind of think that was because you never know if you're going to get a second season now, the way TV works. But for me, it's a huge green light. I love this.
Berg.
I feel the complete opposite. I thought this tried a little too hard to recapture the lightning in the bottle that was The Office. Didn't earn it. There's too many just similarities, but it's lacking. It doesn't have a Michael. It doesn't have a Dwight. Nobody stood out to me. I thought the first half I was pretty bored. I didn't think they took any big swings, like the Michael Scott, HR speech and stuff like that. It's like, that being said, because as I usually lead in with what I'm going with, I'm still giving this the green light. I was on the line for a while, and then that fucking Oscar scene kicked in, and it killed me, and it made me just completely jump the fence. You give me more of that, I will keep watching this show. I enjoyed the characters we got, but I don't think anybody stood out. But it's a pilot, and they had to introduce an entire building of people. I would have liked them to explain why this documentary company that followed the people of Dunder Mifflin, they went to go continue the documentary. They were gone, so they just picked up with the company that bought Dunder Mifflin. Would have been nice to have that explanation, but that's not a huge deal. Like I said, I was right on the line, but that last part, green light.
Nick.
Yeah, this is a green light. It's just, I think this stands on its own without a problem. It's great that it's an Office spinoff, and we all love The Office and everything, but it doesn't need The Office, which I think is like its biggest reason to greenlight, because just as its own sitcom, it's great. It's got a great set of characters, and it's just like from the jump has a really interesting plot and kind of a unique one too. That something you can like sink your teeth into it. But to Ferg's point about like nobody standing out necessarily, I don't think you're wrong, Ferg, but I also don't think people stood out as much, say, in The Office as maybe you think they did, just because we've seen it so many times. So I think that they are aware that maybe these characters still need work and time, and that they can develop those bigger roles as it goes on. And that's probably their intent. I've only seen, I think, up to 3 episodes of the first season. I can't remember how far in I made it, but I enjoyed every episode. And like I said, it's not about The Office. It's just really good on its own, and I enjoyed it. And I'm excited for the second season, and it's a pretty easy green light.
Yeah, listen, I'm not doing anything far from what you guys are doing. I mentioned before, I think this is a show that unfortunately is going to be graded too hard by most people because of its Office tie-ins. And I think when you do kind of take some of that away and you just look at the show for what it is, it is a solid show. It is tough. The Office is my favorite show by far, always will be, most likely. To kind of get into some of the stuff you guys were talking about, like Ferg with like the doc crew, I think, for all purposes, as best they could, they found a way to tie it in, at least that made some sense. At least this is the same world. This is why the doc crew is at least even existing, as they were kind of trying to do something, and this was the best link they had. I think also, as far as like with the farm was too close, and it wasn't even, I had watched something, I think Rainn Wilson said it before too, is when Rainn Wilson, when they did that backdoor pilot, you're watching them directly in contrast with The Office, like the scenes in The Office, and then there's scenes in the farm, and you're watching and comparing directly, you know what I mean? Which was an unfair thing for the farm to have to deal with, because you're watching an episode of The Office and go, what's this thing? This is different. And then maybe if they waited, I think they said, like him and Paul Everseen said, like if they maybe waited a year or two and then tried doing the farm, it probably would have worked out. This, I think, is why that works out too. We are comparing, but we don't have to watch it like directly. We're not watching these characters like transition right out of The Office and going, well, this is different in a way I don't like. It's not The Office, but it doesn't have to be The Office. There are a lot of characters that I think, yes, are a little muted right now, that with time to shine on them in the future, we're going to get like more and more of their personalities, and depending on how long the show goes, like and watch them develop can be really fun. And that's kind of something I look forward to. I think like your Travises could be like a really interesting character with time. And to not ramble on too long, because we got to close out. The only other thing, the one thing that I will say negative, I don't think this needed to be a 32-minute episode. I think there are areas we could have tightened up a little bit and saved it for later. again, it's this business model now where we need to have 10 episodes out. They all have to come out the same day. Well, you know what? How about fucking 12 episodes and we just make these all a little shorter? Because there was a point where like I was at the 22-minute mark and I'm like, okay, I have another 10 minutes there's another half an episode worth of show I have to do now based on a standard sitcom. So maybe instead of just cramming that into 10 episodes, you just give us more episodes.
Are all the episodes this long?
I didn't look. I doubt it.
No, they're like regular length for the most part. A little longer because like streamers and no commercials are like 25 minutes, but 32 was like the pilot only.
Okay.
But with all that being said, still a green light for me. So regardless of Gordo's score, it's still going to be 4 out of 4 for us right now, which is enough for a green light either way. So congratulations to the paper. You do see another episode with us. I want to thank everybody who listened. Don't forget, go to S1E1pod.com. That's where you can find all of our links. So if you need to do anything in relation to us, you can go right there. Hit us up with some emails. Let us know shows you want us to cover, anything, how you feel, how you got to us, anything, random chit-chat. If you want to just talk to Ferg, you can send him a message, whatever you want to do. But we like the engagement. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have known that we had a Ghost Australia to cover for next Spooky Dookie. So,
thank you.
So thanks to everyone. Make sure you keep hitting us up. But thank you. Until next week. Thank you.
I think we got the best direct message to Ferg.